everyone, and welcome to Embracing the Fight. Today is New Year's Eve. So, happy New Year's Eve to everyone who's out there watching. And initially, I wanted to just do like a year in review, but I said, wait a minute. I need to do one more episode for 2025 because today is actually the last day, of the year. So before I get into that, if you don't know, I am Erica Lamar, your digital creator and host for Embracing the Fight. And I've been doing this since January of 2023. And the reason that I started it is because I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer back in August of 2022. And now I can proudly say and thankfully say and filled with grace and gratefulness that I am healed of cancer. And this is my second bout. And during the process, I learned that a lot of people, don't have the voice to speak on things that, cause them issues, or you always wonder why a person, was sick or what was going on with them before they passed away. Or you also wonder, when a person is going through something and they commit suicide, it's like, well, could I have done something? Could I have helped? And what Embracing the Fight does is it gives those people a voice. That way they'll have a listening ear or they have a platform where people hear it and they say, you know what, let me reach out and let me help that person. So let's just, jump right in because I know you guys are already subscribers, but if you're not, please click like, click subscribe, click comment, share, do whatever you can to help me continue to grow my channel. We are at 319 subscribers now. And I said, this year, 2026 is going to be the year that everything, just goes viral. I have to speak it into existence because that's one of the things that, I encourage, all my listeners to do, to speak life. All right. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's just kind of talk about, um, the window of opportunity or just windows in general. Because today, I started doing like a daily encouragement with the first letter of whatever day of the week it is. Like for today, it was Window Wednesday. And I talked about, how your eyes are the window to your soul and how you hear people talk about God opening up a window and pouring out blessings so much so that you don't have room enough to receive it. I also talk about, the actual window that you look out of. And I talked about, windows of opportunity. But let's just talk about all of these things, rolled into one. So when you have, say, let's just start with a window of opportunity. So initially, when I started thinking about creating Embracing the Fight, I had a lot of different thoughts. I started to say, you know what, there's millions of people out there that have stories. But then I started telling myself, why would these people want to come on here and share their story? Usually, people will share their story if you are open, honest, and genuine about your story. And I found that to be true because I've had several episodes where people have come on and they have shared their stories. And next week, when I do the full review of this year, I'm going to go over each story, that was told in 2025, and then talk about some of the losses and some of the gains and the beautiful things that we saw, after those stories were told. And when you think about, this proverbial window, it's like, do I go ahead, and try this podcast? What if nobody, listens? What if no one ever subscribes? What if the numbers stay small? And I was talking to, a couple of ladies yesterday on a call where we were talking about HRT black box, update something or things that women in midlife, should know about HRT, and that's hormone replacement therapy. And while we were on that call, it was just a few of us, and at the end of the call, and this one lady basically said that the people who come to receive your services or get information from you are people that are supposed to come to you. They are divinely sent to you for them to be, in your care. So I don't take that lightly. these 319 subscribers, just know that I pray for you. I ask the Lord to bless you. And I pray that you have so much coming towards you that that window that you open, that you just won't have enough room to receive everything that you prayed for, everything that you asked for. Now, as I go forward, the reason why I am saying that I would like to, grow the subscribers is because I want to be able to touch more people. I want God to trust me with more in 2026. Because as you all know, I was talking about my dear sweet cousin that I lost on Black Friday, November 28th, 2025. Her name was Dr. Tammy Tamiki Lamar Blackwood. And I will forever say her name because she was a good steward over everything that he gave her. And because of that, it's like, there's nothing that we can't do, with God, in the mix with God, helping us, leading us, guiding us. Because I used to wonder, I was like, darn, she goes from one meeting to the next meeting to a webinar, then she's doing a food drive, or she's talking about, kidney health, or she's over doing a mission trip. It's like, where in the world do you get all this time? And the funny thing about her, she was, like I said, impeccably dressed and fashionably late. It was like it didn't even matter if she was late, because when she, arrived, she became a force to be reckoned with in whatever venue, that we were in, or whatever it was that she was doing, because whenever her little feet hit the ground, she went straight to work. So in this season, in 2026, I am praying that God tests my stewardship, especially when it comes to this podcast. So the question is for you, if your window is open right now and God is pouring into you all the things that you've asked for and all the things that you thought that you needed in order to be successful, in order to help others, what will you do with it? Will you recognize what it is when it comes to you? Or will you just sit here and, be like, dang, what the heck is this? And are you prepared to actually move it forward? So that takes me to the next, the window, the one that leads to your soul, your eyes. So I found that when you talk to people and you look them in the eye, 9 times out of 10, you get some type of energy exchange. You can feel really what the person is about. I'm not saying you can do all people, because some people, I don't know, I guess you would call them a shifter. I don't know what you would call it, but they appear to be one way and then they're actually something else. I'm talking about the people that are genuine. When you look them in the eye, you know that their yes is yes and their no is no. So if you are one of these people that your yes is yes and your no is no, then yoke up with others who are the same. I had to learn that I can't rescue everyone, especially not those that God didn't send to me. Because doing that, I look back at my finances, y'all, over the past 5 years, and I said, you know what? I've helped a lot of people. And then guess what? None of those people are even in my life now. I mean, no hard feelings, but I mean, they're not in my life in the sense that they don't call every day. We don't visit, that sort of thing. Now, if they would call, I would talk to them, but it's nothing like that. I'm not saying that, cut these folks off. And then, which is kind of funny, because I have a friend that's like, girl, you need to cut them off, because if they call you back, then they probably need something. And you don't want to give it. You don't need to give it. You need to just, cut it at that point. But at the same time, I know that, like I said, we're not in that type of, I don't know, space anymore. And they know that the Bank of Erica is closed because, my life has totally changed. And even though I can't spend the way that I spent, previously, I can't give the way that I did previously. I know that it's coming back, and it's coming back soon. And when it comes back this time, it's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And everything that I give, I, man, I am going to pray before I give it. Because, before, if somebody would come and say, let me borrow some money, I'll just, here you go. But now it's gonna be like, wait a minute, let me let me pray about that. And if they start acting crazy, that lets me know right at that moment. Don't do it, especially not if you can't stand it. Now that was, was something that my great grandfather basically said he didn't loan money to friends because it breaks up friendships, and he was telling the whole honest to goodness truth. And then I also had a another cousin that basically said, "Don't give more than you can stand," because I've known people to give or lend people their car note or their house note with the expectation of them paying it back when they get their money. And then sometimes they never see those people again. Then they get behind and it becomes a cycle. And then they end up losing things just because of their kindness. I refuse to take that into 2026. If I have it to lend, then the Lord has to lay it on my heart for my prayers. Otherwise, it's not happening. It it can't happen because it would be against, God's will. Because I don't want to, take his place. I don't want to be God. And I think that was part of the reason why my life changed so significantly because I was just helping folks. And the people that I was helping, it wasn't doing them any good because if you look at them now, they're either in the same situation or in a worse, situation than they were prior to me helping them. So it's like when people feel like they have a well to run to, they don't try to do any better. So when I look into these people's eyes and when I talk to them, then it has to be a soulful connection now in order for me to be able to help, anyone. And another thing that I've decided to do concerning, stewardship is I am starting a nonprofit organization. And I know I've started nonprofit organizations before. And with the experience that I have now and the things that I know I can scale and grow and help a lot more people. And it's like I went through a season where God just allowed me to learn. He allowed me to go to webinars and podcasts, um, recordings. He allowed me to hear and see things that I wouldn't have normally seen if I had been working, those crazy hours I was working. Because previously, I was going in some days at 1 o'clock in the morning, sometimes at 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't know if I was coming or going. And I always had to be kind. I always had to be up on everything that I was doing. And even though I did all that, it didn't matter because you all know that in 2024, they eliminated my position, whatever. But from that point, I have been building and learning a whole lot of things. So, for example, I'll be flipping a house, very, very soon. I'm going to have a nonprofit organization that um, continues the life and legacy of someone I truly, truly loved. And I have, copyrights for 2 books that I've written. So it's like all these little pieces that God has allowed me to do, I'm able, to soon see the fruit of these things. And I'm only telling you this because I want to encourage you to do the same because we all have the ability to, get that billionaire status. It's just a matter, of how hard do you want to work at it? How long do you want to work at it? And what are you asking God for? What are you asking Him to help you with to send down, that blessing? What is it? I used to joke around. I used to say, I need to know what Sierra's prayer was because, the entertainer Sierra, like she was married. Well, she wanted to be married to her first child's father, but that wasn't what God had for her. Now she's married to a man that's a multimillionaire that worships the ground that she walks on. And even though people try to say he looks corny, this, that, and other, that man loves her. And she looks happy. So it's like, what is she praying? But she got it. But then I'm like, no, that wasn't necessarily it. I mean, she might have prayed for something, but sometimes God just gives you favor and blesses you with something that you couldn't even imagine. So that's what I am speaking in 2026, that whatever it is, that God has for me, it's going to blow my mind. And my prayer is that He will blow your mind as well. So then there's that fourth window, and I kind of alluded a little bit, to that. And that's the actual window, like this window here. You know, I've owned homes in every state that I lived in because growing up, I always said I want to have my own house. I want to have a big house so I could, get married and fill it up with kids. And well, I got the big house part, but I didn't fill it up with kids. I married, but that didn't work out either. But either way, the windows required cleaning every so often to keep, the view clear. So the window that you're looking out of, you're trying to look into your future, into what God has for you, into that forward season, into 2026. You're looking out that window. Are the panes clear? Is the path in front of the window clear so you can see into the distance? Are there things that are blocking your view? What window are you looking out of? Are you looking out of somebody else's window, hoping for what they have, not knowing what it took for them to get there? Or are you patiently waiting on what's on the other side of your window? Or are you just hoping that somebody brings you a window if you can't look out of a window right now? So if someone brings you a window, consider that a blessing because that's more like people who are homeless, people who feel hopeless. They feel like, I don't have anything to look forward to. I don't have anything to look out of. But then someone brings you, something to give you hope. Even if it's like, I don't know, some time at a homeless shelter or some time in a rental property, or they've gone to a land bank and negotiated, through a nonprofit agency to provide you with housing and training so you can get a job. That is a window. And a lot of people, don't understand that some homeless people, they were like executives, they were all these different things before they became homeless. It just so happened that something tragic happened that caused them to be on the street. Truth be told, all of us are maybe 2, 3 months or 2, 3 checks or 4 checks away from being homeless. Because with the way the economy is set up and with all the things that are going on in the world, it's like you lose your job, it's tough. And that's why you see a lot of people dealing with depression and people dealing with, thoughts of suicide and things of that nature, not knowing that there's so much out here that can help them. So when you are looking out your window, you have to consider that the window that you're looking out of is specific to you. God has a design for whatever that you're looking for, whatever you're waiting for. It's designed just for you. And you're the one who has to go to the window and look out of it. And you're the one who's going to actually have to open it to let whatever in that God is trying to bless you with and whatever out that He's trying to get out of your life in order for you to be prosperous. So that's really what I wanted to talk to you guys about. When it comes to 2026. When you come into the new year on tomorrow, then you have a better mindset, a better thought about what you should do going forward. Sure, everything won't change in a day just because the calendar year changed. No, you still have to take the necessary steps to make sure that whatever is coming your way, that you're able to handle it. And if you can't handle it, you know who or where to reach out, for help or for information. Because that's what embracing the fight is all about. And this year, I plan to have many more stories of triumph, many more stories of joy, happiness, and greatness. And then when I don't have those stories, I've decided that I will read other people's stories, tell their stories, and then share it here on Embracing the Fight. Because sometimes, it just takes a little bit of encouragement and a little bit of hope to change the trajectory of someone's life. And that is absolutely why I created Embracing the Fight. So y'all look for some great things from me in 2026, more reels, more short form on TikTok and Instagram because I just be honest, it felt like, so much, but then I realized you can use AI to do a lot of different things. So y'all just look forward to, what's coming in 2026. But again, I just want to thank everyone for taking their time out of their busy day or their busy schedule or whatever it is you're doing to take a look at embracing the fight. All right, because these episodes are about you, for you, and they really help me to, I guess it's almost therapeutic for me to be able to sit here and talk to you and share things with you because my life experiences I feel can help others. And that in itself is therapeutic because knowing that my mistakes and my experiences can help someone avoid what they're going through gives me joy. All right. So thank you all so much for taking time out of your busy day to watch this final episode of 2025 on Embracing the Fight. I want you all to have an absolutely amazing day.